Hi everybody, let's talk about this new moon we have coming up this week, either the 14th or 15th depending on where you live, and the sun and moon are going to be at 21 degrees Virgo. So for new moons, I like to really take time with the sign that it's in because we have both the luminaries, the sun and moon, there exchanging with each other. And whenever there's a sun moon contact, there's an awakening of instincts. And this sets a new foundation for the next 29 and a half days. So there's this window of opportunity to integrate this archetype more fully. And in this case, we have the Maiden, Virgo, also mutable earth energy. So right now we're amongst the season of the goddesses. Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio make up this trinity of yin transformative energy, and archetypally they'll represent those phases of energy. Virgo being the maiden and an inward pull, Libra the consort or wife exchanging with other, and Scorpio the crone or an outward pull and the phase of complete renewal and change. So Virgo translates to virgin in Latin and is also referred to as the maiden. And this reflects more so the principle of being whole within oneself. Someone who uses energy and experiences and focuses all of that back upon themselves. So the principle is of regeneration of the self through the self. And there's a lot of purifying and cleansing that goes on in the Virgo archetype. And so the antithesis of this being chaos, fragmentation, dependency, self-deceit, anything that kind of pulls you away from that receptivity of the inner self. So the maiden is the most independent of those goddess archetypes. And so with that, we see that Virgo has this strong emphasis on retreat, commitment to personal values, and also self-regulation is a big one, especially being ruled by Mercury and running over the nervous system. So seasonally, the energy here of Virgo completes summer in the northern hemisphere. And with that energy, we see the fruits of labor and self-sustainability. And from that place comes acts of service, which Virgo's mostly known for. So first, let's take a look at the aspects that this new moon is making. I have the chart here. And though I mainly focus on the traditional planets, when the outers, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, are more tightly aspecting a luminary, they do tend to be important. And this new moon is roping in Uranus and Neptune. So we can see here first, both the sun and moon is separating from a trine, harmonious aspect to Jupiter. And trines add fuel and support. Also some exhilaration to the conscious and unconscious context symbolized by the luminaries. Right now we have Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, and we're really starting to want to feel that expansive, positive experience from life. There starts to be this inner hunger, wanting to feel that self-assured fullness that Jupiter in Taurus brings as it's more turned inward with the retrograde cycle. And you see Jupiter is with Uranus, a very unstable, unpredictable, volatile energy, but also very heavily future-oriented. So Uranus is also in trine with the sun and moon, and this is future fuel. It's happening, the sign the North Node just left, with a lunar eclipse in Taurus coming on October 28th. So this new life changing and sustaining energy is still very relevant and is going to be pulled into this new moon cycle. So Virgo and Taurus kind of hold down that earth element, working to make things more nurturing and tangible. But with Uranus energy and that uncertainty, and Virgo being mutable earth, which is very changeable, there's definitely a changeable, up in the air kind of feel to this lunation. And this makes this lunation heavily charged as well. Like, if something were to be ignited, it would go up in seconds because you have that volatile nature of Uranus and Jupiter kind of just adding fuel to that fire. In terms of applying aspects, the new moon is applying to an opposition to Neptune in Pisces. And here we're given a task of the nature of that Piscean Virgo polarity. Can we take something larger than life, a soul longing or a vision, and break it down into more digestible pieces? And how can we find sacred intention in what we do in our day-to-day lives, particularly with the maintenance and care of taking care of the physical body and mental health, and also seeing the bigger picture in our actions with those routines we have every day. So this aspect also depicts a conflict between self-wholeness and idealizing something externally. Neptune is so strong in Pisces, and we're here in Virgo in the place of the luminaries. So our awareness is going to come from looking at this massive vastness of Pisces energy. This could be consuming, sleepy, or dissociative. But there is a much bigger picture, and this is part of a bigger picture around how we may have been using something out there to escape the inner world, attuning to what has been actually halting my productivity, the work I'm doing in my life. But in the center of Pisces and Virgo, because every polarity serves to find center, there is remembering. And from that remembering, a really powerful creative force. And it is the healing axis after all. So you have this healing through creativity motive going on. The sun opposite Neptune is exact on September 19th, and there will be even more of an awareness around the self and illusions surrounding it. Those illusions are key in a restorative process taking place during this entire Virgo new moon cycle, which is until mid-October. And in terms of rulership, this lunation is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is stationing direct, depending on where you live, either the same day or the next day as the new moon. And when Mercury's in Virgo, we see the more yin aspects of Mercury and those classic Virgo concepts like introspection, introversion, bodily intuition, holistic health, flexibility or changeability for a greater good. If this is going to improve something, I will adapt and change for it. A direct stationing Mercury is a very powerful Mercury. When Mercury stations direct, something is usually set into its rightful place. So it's a time where we're really aligning ourselves with our inner sense of principles and connection to the body, instincts, the little nudges that we get. Interestingly enough, the degree of the new moon is the very degree that Mercury originally went retrograde back on August 23rd, the 21st degree. So there's this opening here between the unconscious mystery of the new moon and the rational mind, represented by this very strong, dignified Mercury. So looking within, what communications have been in alliance with the unconscious mind? What messages has bodily intuition tried to communicate? Virgo deals a lot with that gut brain. And Mercury and Virgo opposing Saturn is separating but also shining a light on physical nourishment. Effective functioning depends on it, and it needs to be taken seriously. And that's kind of the sobering quality of Virgo. So the myth of Virgo is that of goddess Astraea. Virgo's seen in various different grain and harvest goddesses, but I'm mostly going to focus on Astraea, also known as the Starry Maiden, standing for innocence and most importantly justice. Astraea lived primarily during what was known as the Golden Age and was the last immortal amongst mortals, and as she was the last to leave Earth and ascend to the heavens and be created as constellation Virgo. And her departure was marked by an increasing disgust with the morals and misalignment with humanity's way of treating each other and aligning to proper principles. So this idea of perfection and modesty that's associated with Virgo was actually that of divinity and morality and trying to make this world a better place. But the Golden Age is interesting because it's an unpredictable time where it's unforeseen that things suddenly change, and it's marked by an immense increase in creativity, thought to penetrate from the heavens. It's a time when art and writing suddenly get to their peak, and coming out of this epic summer of Mercury and Venus retrograde, both ruling art and writing, there's this opportunity, I feel, for a boom in artistic expression and higher vision, as everyone was just undergoing some kind of inner initiation to those previously traveled degrees on the zodiac and kind of not being able to start things. I think coming out of that can be extremely expressive and creative. And aside from art, a golden age is also marked by wanting just like a higher quality of life, wanting to eat higher quality food, having food that gives life, being surrounded by people that give life, and doing work that gives life. It is this awakening to something higher for ourselves, but in a tangible way. And it is kind of a mystical, otherworldly time. And with those imprints of that Neptunian haze and Uranus influence of being more futuristically oriented, I think that this could be a really good opportunity. I know I'm going to meditate on for the next month this concept of this better era and what I can do better instead of fixating on what is wrong. And that's really the unskillful approach to Virgo, and I often have to correct myself. Using that detail-oriented eye only to see what's wrong and becoming painfully disenchanted by what you see. I'm trying to not lose sight on the hopes in the future that is already very much here. And I think that's the direction I personally want to go in with this new moon. So thanks, guys, so much for watching and listening. And I'll be back soon.